How we doing out there? You're here with the Daniels family. I'm John. It's my lovely wife Nicole.
Hello.
And just want to come talk to you guys since we have so much extra free time these days because of what's going on out in the world. And we just want to spread a little bit of the kingdom and create conversation and provide some confirmation and ignite some passion, you know? So today we kind of want to speak on faith. Earlier my wife was reading in Hebrews chapter 11 discussing faith. And before we go there, I mean, this is something we typically do on the norm. We always sit down and talk amongst ourselves regarding the Bible or something going on in the world related back to the Bible or to God, and understand that it's a reason for things and everything has a purpose, of course. And we do this for family, friends, co-workers, whatnot, and we thought it'd be good just to share with more people. So we'll record today, and hopefully you'll learn something. We'll learn something ourselves.
Right.
But
we love this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So let's jump right in.
What you got?
It's all about faith.
That's right. Hebrews chapter 11.
So Hebrews chapter 11, the very first verse says, "Now faith is the substance of things that are hoped for, the evidence of things that are not seen. And we know without faith, it is impossible to please God." So let's just see. I mean, what do you think? What does it mean to have faith?
Well, to have faith, first of all, you have to believe in something, and we hopefully that belief is in a higher power, who we call the Most High God, and the God of the Bible, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because if you don't have belief in God or belief in His Son Christ, I don't think anything is possible. Because that's your foundation. First of all, you don't want to believe in your money or have faith in your money, have faith in your job, or have faith in people, because those things will fail you every single time. So,
which we really kind of see now, right? I mean, no matter how much money people have, no matter how much jewelry or, clothes, shoes, or whatever, right now we're homebound. So does it really matter? So it has to be things in general in life that are more important, that supersedes things that we can see, right? Things that are physically visible, things that are really and truly temporary. We just had a conversation about that the other day as well, saying that everything within this life that we see is temporary, from our bodies to our homes to our cars. We had some tennis rackets that we just pulled out the other day, and they've been sitting up there brand new for like a little over a year within our garage, up on the shelf. What has it been, about a year?
About 3 years, maybe.
Maybe 3 years. Time goes by so fast. But
the handle is it's coming not like coming
dry
apart.
Rotted?
It's dry rotting, yeah.
And they're brand new. Like, really?
Yeah.
But everything that we see, right, is temporary. So everything ages. The value of things diminish, but yet with faith, right, we have promises that are eternal. So that's the shouting part. I just get excited about things like that.
Well, yeah, that too. But back to the piggyback on what Nicole just mentioned about being temporary, I think that's one thing that increases my faith when I know that things are temporary, whether it's like an illness or a loss of a job or some kind of pain you're dealing with. All those things are temporary, and you have faith. If you have faith in God, those things are temporary, and you have better days ahead, and sure, God's gonna work you through whatever you're going through. Mm-hmm. But what you mentioned earlier about what I thought about faith.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about faith?
I think faith is something that, has a great deal of power, even more so than what we can imagine, right? I was just speaking earlier to my parents, and just thinking about how powerful belief is. Like when you believe in something, or even when you fear something, how it can cripple you, almost. So belief, whether or not it's in a higher power or a belief within ourselves, like belief is extremely powerful when you just take a moment to just kind of sit back and think about that. So I think that faith, exactly, what this chapter within Hebrews is telling us is the substance of things that are hoped for. So even in speaking with our children, as they engage in sports, it's all about having belief in your abilities and actually, asking God to help us in all areas of our lives, whether or not it's on our jobs or, on the courts, on the fields, really just having faith and having a belief, that something is possible. And when you have the faith and the belief in something being possible, you can actually see it through to where it will become visible, right? We will be able to see those results.
Right. And to the on the belief point, I think when you have a lack of faith and you don't believe, especially when you don't believe in yourself or believe in God, you really blocking your supernatural power. And we all have these powers within, and I know, society would dumb that down where it's like a fairy tale where like, yeah, right, I don't have that type of power, but as in the Bible, Christ walked on water, and Peter temporarily walked on water because he had faith for a short period of time, but as he started to doubt himself, he started to sink in that water. So that's one example in the Bible, but in present day, you see individuals all the time who truly believe in themselves and they go out to do great things, whether it's something like Nicole mentioned in sports or something in the business world dealing with technology, whatever. It all started off with a belief in oneself, because you see some of the richest people in the world didn't even finish college, but they believed in themselves and their ability, and they went out and taught themselves, created their product, and now they're like the richest people in the world. And then you have people like a LeBron James. He believed that he could be an NBA player when he's a junior in high school. I mean, when I was a junior in high school, I never thought about being an NBA player. I mean, I would have loved to go to the NBA, and I wish I could have done something like that, but I could never. That thought never would have crossed my mind. A junior in high school, like, yeah, I can go play in the NBA. It's just unheard of. But he had that belief. But of course, he was blessed with this talent too. So that, I guess, would strengthen your belief too at the same time. But still, you have people like him all the time throughout the world who still living in throughout history who had that belief in themselves. But first of all, most of these individuals believed in God first, and they knew what God gifted them, and they knew God was laying a path for them, and they just needed to listen and obey His commands. God speaks to us, and He's sharing things with us all the time. Whether when you're riding in the car and you just meditating or just riding in silence, you hear things that come to your mind. It's God speaking to you, and He's basically trying to tell you something. So you can ignore it if you want to, but it's best to kind of sit back and pay attention and try to figure out what is He saying and why is He saying it. Because most of the time it's for a reason. It's to help you. It's whether it's trying to answer a question for you that you've been dwelling upon, or if it's showing you what if you need to turn left or turn right, and making a decision with your family, with your job, with your housing. Health reports, anything. So we gotta believe in the higher power of the Most High God. So we can, first of all, like I mentioned earlier, don't block our supernatural power, and just don't block our blessings. Right. So faith is important. Go ahead.
Well, I just kind of want to piggyback on what you just mentioned as well, as far as like God speaking to you. And I know many years ago when I was younger, I always thought that God speaking to you would be, as if when he was calling Samuel, I think it was, but like actually hearing a voice. But sometimes that voice is a very soft presence, to the point that John just mentioned, whether or not you're riding in a car or, taking a shower, but you really have to turn the television off sometimes. We tell our children, to take a moment and get away from their iPads and just have a moment to yourself so that you can really kind of take in the thoughts that are being placed within your mind, right? The ideas. What are some things that God is even calling us for? And even when you were mentioning, some of the famous people, right? Mm-hmm. The celebrities, of this day, they also knew their purpose. And, we can dive into that on another day, but just being in tune with what is meant for me to do, not only in my life, but this day, this week, this month, right? How can I fulfill my purpose that the Creator has created me for? So, but anyway, I guess back to faith.
Yeah, so just not to just keep going along of people who have faith, but I know I mentioned a lot of celebrities and whatnot because we identify with those people because we see them all the time. Mm-hmm. But in the Bible, there's plenty of examples, as most of you all know, of people who demonstrated faith. In Hebrews 11 lists a few people. It lists Abel, having faith and presenting his best portion to God, and Cain, his brother, did not. And of course, for you all who know, Cain was punished for that. You have other individuals like Noah, like you see on the cover shirt, faith like Noah. Mm-hmm. Noah had faith, but everybody else in the world looking at him like, "What are you doing? Right. Why are you building a boat? Why you building a big boat? You don't have a family that big, and where you going?" So if Noah didn't have that faith, we wouldn't be here today. He was the one who was saved to continue to populate the earth later on. Mm-hmm. And even believe it or not, Christ had to have faith because he had moments of doubt, even right before he knew he was going to be crucified when he was praying to God. Mm-hmm. He had to have God had to have confirmation through God that it's going to be okay, and this is part of your purpose you have to go through with. And he had, I felt like he kind of had some more doubt on the way to the cross, and even on the cross, he had to continue. And that's why prayer is so helpful and powerful and important, mm-hmm. Because the times when you do doubt, even though we pray for faith, we want to have faith, we feel like we have it, we still got to pray to maintain it, and it's to keep us going, because you're praying, and even though we know God has our best interests at heart and he's going to make this thing work for us, we still had a little doubt to creep in. We got to pray and speak to him. Mm-hmm. And just like a parent would do any child, they'll console you and mm-hmm. comfort you and let you know everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. So,
and that's true. I would just like to comment mm-hmm. on the fact that, to your point, like even Christ on up until him being on the cross, right? He had to be in direct communication with the Father in order to get those confirmations. And, even until this day, we need those confirmations, right? Mm-hmm. So he is our ultimate example of, what we are to do here within this earth. And so I just thought that was a good point. Mm-hmm. The fact that we do have to take that time to connect to the Father, to pray in his Son's name, right, in order to be heard and to have that same guidance as to what we need to do in order to fulfill his will.
Right. And everybody has some kind of testimony of faith where they can think back to in their lifetime, and that should be confirmation to know that God is real and God is with you. Mm-hmm. I know we had times that we could think of, several moments of time we could think of, particularly dealing with our jobs or whatever. I remember being laid off, when was that? 2009, I want to say, from Sprint, and got laid off almost a month after our second child was born, Chase. Mm-hmm. He was born, and I was laid off in Let me see. He was born in February. I was laid off in March. Yeah, and I can't say at the time I was truly worried. It's the first time it ever happened to me. I had a little severance package, so I thought I was gonna be okay, but it was only like 6 months. So Nicole was worried. She was on me every day. I was like, man, I gotta get out this house. She bugging. But so
that was back in the day when my faith wasn't as strong. I've grown since then. But yes, I was worried. I had fear. My fear was here and my faith was here. But God, shift.
Right. I mean, I've definitely grown since then too, and I think that experience strengthened my faith because during that time frame, even though it wasn't immediately, I saw things working in my favor. I saw God working. And I just tried to stay consistent in what I was doing, as far as looking for jobs and staying positive, and things just started to happen. You started getting, what is it? Some little, like, some signs here and there saying, oh, you know what? They had a job fair here. They got a job fair there. Oh, let me check that out. Oh, so-and-so, you may want to talk to him. Different things like that. But I was notified of a particular job fair at where I work now, actually. And I didn't had no clue that they had the type of job I was looking for. But a guy I know at church made mention of it, and I was like, sure, I guess so. I know it's this weekend, it's short notice, but let me check it out. And it's like things were meant to be. And it's funny how everything just works out, because I had something else planned for the day. It was on a Saturday, and that morning I had something else I was involved in that I already signed up for, and it ended up ending on time, actually. Gave me enough time to make it up to this job fair. And when I got there, I only probably had like 15 minutes, and I wasn't originally allowed to get inside the room to go to the job fair. So I just sat down and looked over the job description on a sheet of paper they had listed right there at the front desk. And for some reason, a guy came by who worked there. I didn't know who he was, but he saw me out there in my suit. Asked, was I there for the job fair? I said, oh yeah. He said, well, come on in. I went straight on up in there. And right. And then it was 2 different jobs that I was contemplating upon. I wanted to apply for both. I didn't know I only had to apply for one. So after looking at the description, I said, well, let me just go ahead and apply for the one that basically fits my experience. And so I got into the interview, and things went well, and even though I didn't get a call back for like another couple of months, I still had faith something was going to work out, because I knew God wasn't going to just leave me hanging. I just got my second child here. He's a newborn. Something's going to fall through. I mean, something not fall through, but something's going to work out, and we're going to get something eventually. But 2 months later, I got the second call back, second interview. And then after that, the day after, got the third interview. And then I still didn't hear anything back for, I guess, like another month or so. But then when they called back, I remember working out. And it was the guy who was going to be my director, who was the one who called. And he offered me the job, told me to pay. And it was like probably, $15,000 or so more than what I was making on the old job. And hey, it was like meant to be. It's like God knew that I would have to be pushed out this old job in order to make more money to provide for the family that was growing,
And just like they say, the saying goes, right? When one door closes, another one opens. So
exactly.
We definitely witnessed that.
So, just that being said, I was trying to make the story short, but that increased my faith, and it increased my faith. And it definitely increased Nicole's faith, because she had a similar situation years later. And because of what happened to me, she didn't worry as much as she did when I was going through it.
Right.
But I still had to kind of push her a little bit, because she had that little doubt that we all get. And,
I did.
And we understand that. So, but I'm just saying, my experience helped her with her experience, and it increased both our faith. Our faith, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just like to comment on that, to that point. there's a constant battle, right? The scriptures tell us that it's a constant battle between the flesh and the spirit. And although, I guess it was a few years, I can't remember, I'm not as good with time, after your situation, when it was my turn, to go through potentially being laid off, if you will, I remember being concerned, even though my faith was greater. But at the time, I knew I had to remind myself of God's promises through his word. And, one of those promises is actually found in Matthew 6, where it tells us that we aren't even supposed to worry about what we're going to eat or what we're going to wear, right? So when that battle came up between the flesh and the spirit, his promises strengthened me, where I'm like, oh, wait a minute, Nicole, you're going to be all right. And when I say he's an on-time God, he's an on-time God. So even with your situation, right, I think unemployment was just about, to run out when we got the notification you got an increase. Did run out. Okay.
Like a couple weeks before then.
And then even for me, my opportunity came through right when I was going to, expected to send my laptop, back in. So our testimonies, like not only, between ourselves, but even the promises that God has fulfilled through our grandparents, through our parents, through their health, through their job situations, through their finances, we can truly say that we have been blessed. Oh, yeah. So we know that there are a lot of different beliefs out, within the world, and we're not here to, really push our belief on anybody else, but we can say with certainty that we believe in, the Creator. We believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We believe in his only begotten Son that was sent for our redemption of our sins. And we just know that he will be there. All we have to do is continue to have faith and trust in him. So even in times like this, when storms come within our lives, we were just talking even to our children. I think it was yesterday or earlier today, I can't remember. But basically, we're not promised a carefree life, right? And so storms are going to come, whether or not it's coronavirus or whether or not it's health, related issues. I don't want to start naming all of that type stuff, but we know that storms are going to come. But we have to put our faith in a power that is greater than ourselves, greater than anybody we even see on television, greater than anything that we can see in the visible, right? That's what this chapter, Hebrews 11 is about. Putting our faith in something that we can't even see. So
yeah, we don't want to keep going long, keep you up too long, but we really wanted to talk about this, and it came to mind because of what's going on. She mentioned the coronavirus and whatnot. And a lot of people are scared about it. We see people running to the grocery stores, taking up all your toilet paper and everything, and hand sanitizer. You see neighbors, you can tell that they may be concerned or worried. You see people with the mask on, the gloves on, and your parents don't want to go anywhere because they're elderly. Mm-hmm. So they're afraid to go outside. The wind may spread the virus to them. So we really just want everyone to maintain your faith and not be shook by what's going on right now. I mean, of course, everybody needs to be aware and do what's right, but we should have been doing it anyway.
Right.
We should, live a clean lifestyle regardless. Mm-hmm. But we don't want this just to really just change us, because these times have it where people don't even want to visit you right now. And it's just like, which is fine, because once again, everything happens for a reason. God, we believe, is doing this so we could take the time to really reunite with the family, learn one another, have fun together, create memories and new experiences. Mm-hmm. Take time to read God's words. This is really like a sabbatical. This is really a rest for everyone if you look at it in that sense, mm-hmm. which is great, because right now no one is on the hustle, mm-hmm. chasing money, or concerned about who's gonna win the playoffs. Or who's going to be number one in the playoffs or make the playoffs or whatnot. Mm-hmm. or a lot of pressures of the world, like running around for taking your kids to extracurricular activities, sports activities. All that is gone right now. So it's a opportunity to recharge, and like I said, enjoy your family, study the Bible, read the Word, whatnot. Just do a lot of things that you've been putting off that should have been at the top of your list. So knowing God always has a plan. We want to stay faithful during this time. So listen to what He's saying to you right now, and look for what's about to happen. I mean, we may think something's bad going to take place, but like I said earlier, everything's temporary. Everything's gonna work out the way it's supposed to, as long as you believe in God and understand that He's gonna put us all in the best situation possible.
Right, and as the scriptures tell us, this too shall pass.
Right.
So, again, just turning to His Word, taking the time, right, to turn to His Word, in order to get that guidance, to build that faith, to build that hope. And things that are not seen in our future days that are ahead of us, because in Jeremiah 29:11 He says that He has plans to prosper us and not to harm us, and not saying that He created all of this madness, but He is the creator that's in charge, that has allowed it for whatever reason. However, in Romans, it tells us that all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord. So again, one last thing, at least from me, is going back to Christ being our example. And even when He was here within this earth physically, He specifically mentioned that He was in this world, but not of this world. And so we have to think about that kingdom that is built on a rock, in the invisible, where our Father still sits on the throne, as well as Christ and the Holy Spirit, to where those stocks aren't diminishing. That value and that power has not diminished. We don't have to vote on them. They are there. They are steadfast. They have mentioned within their word that they will never forsake us. So even though we live in this world, we are not of this world. So we are to act wisely, to your point, as far as, following, I guess, the guidance. And like you mentioned, we were already clean, right? We're already washing our hands and doing things like that. But not only taking it as an opportunity to wash our hands, but it's also purifying ourselves as well as our households, right? We have a lot of extra time on our hands to even clean up the house, but also purifying our hearts, purifying our minds, forgiving those that maybe we still need to work on forgiving. Those are the things that I think during this time should be a focus, where sometimes we may have to turn something off, and think about, how is this benefiting us? And earlier today, I also saw something about, the mindset of not being stuck at home, but being safe at home. So we thank God that He has woke us up, to see another day. He continues to put the breath within our body, regardless of what virus is going around. Ultimately, He is in control. And so He has allowed us the opportunity to be safe within our homes, to really draw close to Him.
Right. So in closing, we just want you all to understand that we all have a purpose, and we want you to keep the faith, and know that God's going to continue to lead, guide, and direct us, and everything will work out to our benefit when it's all said and done. And we will bid you all farewell. And we hope that we pray that God continues to bless you all. And love you guys.
All right.